I used to think that my worst failures were what were keeping me back from experiencing the life that I wanted to live. But then I had an experience that would change everything. And I learned that actually it was from the power of learning the lessons of those perceived failures that actually gave me the platform and the means to be able to serve my life purpose. And if you have experienced failure too, I know exactly what it is that you're going through. And if you have told yourself this story that because you haven't reached certain levels of success, you're not going to be able to make it to where you want to go, listen to what I have to share with you today. About 6 or 7 years ago, I was working in the indie music space, and I had been hosting this world renowned radio show called The Appetizer for a while. And I built some awesome relationships with some amazing people inside the industry and also throughout the business and marketing world. I'd interviewed people that really didn't have anything to do with music, but were interested in hearing what I had to say and also interested in talking with me. And in different ways, that gave me a sense of validation. But being a relationship guy, I was so keyed in on building relationships with other people. And I hadn't really built a very strong relationship with myself. But then I went through something that I considered to be the biggest, worst, most detrimental failure of all time. I went through divorce. And when my former spouse walked out the door and left, I nosedived into this incredibly debilitating depression. And I told myself this story that there's no way in the world that anyone would trust me to be a relationship person if my closest relationship just up and left. So what did I do? I shut down my coaching practice. I really closed up my business in a lot of ways. And I took on this sales job to try to make ends meet. And also, I wanted to overcome this fear of rejection, since that's what I was staring in the face of. And I thought, if I face rejection every day, I'll have to get over this. Well, that didn't exactly work all that well because I didn't end up selling too much of anything. I was still processing all of that hurt and all of that pain. But I did learn some powerful lessons in that process. And I began this journey into trying to figure out what to do to overcome this fear. And I had this moment where I was actually brought back to a favorite memory of mine that I'd had when I was married. And in that moment, for a little while, it felt really good. But remember, I wasn't married anymore. And so when that realization hit me, I fell on the floor, shaking uncontrollably and crying my eyes out, sobbing buckets of tears. And it was like my inner critic took a microphone and 1,000 stacked mega boogie amps cranked the volume up to 11 and started screaming at me all of the terrible things that I had ever told myself, all these self-ridiculing, angry, hurtful, bitter, negative, terrible things that I had spoken to myself for years. And it just persisted. And I felt like I was 20 stories below rock bottom. Now, if you've ever experienced anything like that, you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. It's more than a debilitating experience. And as I was just wretched with all of that pain, somewhere in that cacophony of torment, I heard this still small voice speak to me. And it said, "You don't know what love really is. And you don't know how to love yourself. And this is the true cause of all of your pain." And it was from that moment that my life changed because I had to take a closer look at myself and recognize that what I was experiencing was a reflection of the way that I had treated me. It wasn't my former spouse that had walked out the door that had caused me so much pain. I had really abandoned, rejected, and betrayed myself. And so I began this exhaustive journey and process in learning what real love actually is. and recognizing that so many of the beliefs and thoughts that I had about what love is was actually incredibly codependent and not the way that real love actually works. And so, from this journey and all these lessons that I learned, I wrote a book about my experience and my journey into learning how to love myself. And that's what the book Be Solid, How to Go Through Hell and Come Out Whole is all about. And from this journey and from all of these lessons that I learned and continue to learn because I am a perpetual student, this is what I do now in helping people transform their lives, overcome their worst fears, and escape from this torment of failure that seems to be the way that a lot of people view their own stories. And I cultivated a method that I call growth farming, which is that when we treat our hearts and our minds like the garden that they are, and we become more conscious of what it is that we are planting on the inside of ourselves, then we can transform our lives and our relationships by fostering and sowing and growing more love from within. And this comes out in what we harvest in our lives through our actions, attitudes, and behaviors, and also what we attract more of into our lives. Because the universe gives us who we are, not what we want. So being a vessel of love has transformed my life in innumerable ways. And now I work with people and show them how to do this too. And there's a fun, interesting, and entertaining dynamic to this. It's not all serious work. Because I don't know about you, if you've spent any amount of time in the personal growth or spiritual growth space, there's a lot of stuff that can feel like it's really hard work. And hard work and God are not always on the same plane or in alignment with each other. Actually, God, the master gardener of our souls, brings fun everywhere God is. And so this is how I help people transform their lives. There's awesome and amazing stories, courses, life lessons, and private group coaching that we do each and every week. It's a small group of people, but we meet together and we discuss real topics about how to transform our lives and change our stories. And we also spend quality focused time blessing each other and receiving blessings from each other. It's one of my favorite times of the entire week. And I invite you to come in and join us. If you want to transform your life, and who doesn't, come be a part of the growth farming community. I welcome you. All you have to do is go to growthfarming.com right now. I'll see you there.